Hello, and welcome to The Money Trench, the music industry podcast with me, Mark Sutherland. Thanks to everyone who came down to our latest TMT Tuesday showcase in partnership with our friends at Fierce Panda down at the Victoria in Dalston, and to BT, Afterdrive and Pack of Animals for playing. The next gig is on Tuesday, July the 21st, so get yourself over to the TMT newsletter or socials to book your tickets. The Money Trench is supported by SOUNDON. SOUNDON is TikTok's all-in-one music distribution and promotion platform for artists and labels. Go to soundon.global to find out more and check out the SOUNDON Track of the Week in the TMT newsletter. And the Money Trench is also supported by TIXEL, the honest ticket exchange and waitlist, helping artists own their audience and protect fans from touts. Go to TIXEL.com to find out more and check out the TIXEL Gig of the Week in the TMT newsletter. And we support Earth%, the music industry's climate foundation. Check earthpercent.org to find out more. And this week we're at the Chess Room in Pierce Entertainment, where we're joined by one of the most influential execs in the live business. Having studied at the Royal College of Music, she spent 20 years at the Royal Albert Hall before joining AEG in 2022. She's now SVP of UK venues for AEG Presents, and she has just launched London's newest, shiniest venue, the British Airways ARC at Olympia. Please welcome Lucy Noble.
Hello.
Hello, Lucy. Welcome to the show. How's your music week been?
It's been very good, and you mentioned the new venue we opened last night, so feeling very excited, tired, emotional, but happy today.
It's exactly how we like our podcast guests.
Great.
In a vulnerable state the morning after a big night in their lives. But it was opening night last night, literally. So how did it go?
It was amazing. And, it's been a long process, 6 years in the making, actually. And so many people have worked on it. So to get to the opening night and for it to be a huge success is just fantastic. Really thrilled.
Excellent. Well, we'll talk more about that in a minute. But in the meantime, let's see what the rest of the music biz has been up to with our roundup of the latest industry headlines. And our first story comes from Music Week, which looks at the government's proposed social media ban for under 16s. The ban will have ramifications for the music industry, which has relied heavily on sites such as TikTok and Instagram to reach audiences in recent years. Lucy, how much do you use social media to reach your audiences?
I do use social media quite often, probably too much, on it too much, but personally I'm talking, but of course through the business and selling shows, selling venues, we use it all the time. Yeah. It's one of our biggest marketing tools.
So if that disappears for a large swathe of your audience, I guess, under 16s, what's that gonna mean?
I think it's going to be challenging, and it's going to be very interesting to see how we work around that. And perhaps it means we have to go back to more traditional methods. Who knows? I think we just have to work it out. But I do have to say, though, as a parent, I am delighted with this new law. I think it is required. So it's difficult, isn't it, when you work in an industry that relies heavily on it. But as a parent, I would strongly endorse not allowing people under 16 on social media.
How old are your children, if you don't mind me asking?
I've got a 15, 12 and 8.
Okay, so they will be affected.
Yes, yeah. But I mean, one of my daughters didn't go on social media, the older one, and joined it recently. And as soon as she's joined Instagram, she is on her phone the entire time, looking at reels. And so instantly you see the kind of addiction really come into play. So I do support it from that point of view. I
mean, social media is kind of stitched into the music industry at sort of almost every level, isn't it?
Yeah.
And obviously a big part of the music industry's audience is teenagers. So
yes, yeah, very much so.
How do you think it will cope with any ban?
I think it's interesting because my children find out about new artists on social media. That's where they listen to their music, and they're always telling me about the hottest new artists. So they don't listen to the radio. So where are they going to go? I think it will impact those younger fans and them getting into the live experience and experiencing music and consuming music just generally, we're going to have to think about how we do that differently. And then, of course, there will be that knock-on effect for the wider music industry when you're not cultivating those younger fans in that way.
Might be fewer people on their phones at your gigs.
Yeah, which is also, also positive because, as we all know, you go to a gig and a lot of people are actually watching the gig through their phones because they're filming the whole thing. So that would be nice to make people more present and be in the moment at live music experiences.
Yeah. Well, interesting stuff. Well, we'll see how it goes when it actually comes in, if it does. But next up, CMU looks at the latest report into post-Brexit touring from Parliament's Culture Select Committee. The report says that the government should prioritise securing practical solutions to reduce barriers faced by UK touring artists at the next UK-EU summit, which is due to happen next month. Lucy, you're in the live business. You're not necessarily taking bands out on the road in Europe, but is Brexit still an issue for a lot of the people you are working with, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, like you say, it's not really my area of expertise. However, I'm on the live board and it's a huge topic of conversation, and it has become so bureaucratic to tour in Europe. Something really needs to happen about it. It needs to be made much more efficient. So I think all of these moves are positive to get it back to making it easier for people to tour.
Do you think there's a chance of real progress? Because Brexit's quite a long time ago now, isn't it? And people have been dealing with it ever since.
It's been slow go. Like you say, it's been going on for 10 years. So, I mean, let's hope this helps, get it all across the line a bit quicker. We'll see.
Yeah. And I guess the cost of touring is a factor as well, isn't it? And obviously, the practical costs of touring in Europe have gone up because of Brexit.
Yeah.
Is there anything that can be done about that at government level? Would you like to see them sort of helping out touring artists?
I think anyone would welcome financial support if that's what you're suggesting. Of course, I doubt very much that would come from government, though. Really, would it? I think, but it will be about making it easier from the paperwork point of view.
Yeah, which is always nice, isn't it? And nothing like people on the road like more than a bit of paperwork.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Does it work both ways as well when you're booking shows, the venues? Do you find that there's fewer EU artists coming over here in the way there are fewer British artists going over there?
I wouldn't say so, but I do think it potentially makes people think twice about tours. It's a lot harder. It's more work now to do them. So you need to be really absolutely sure that it's going to be a huge success to take someone out on the road in that way. But no, I mean, we do many shows all over Europe and the world, of course.
Yeah. I guess because you've worked a lot in classical music, haven't you? Where a lot of classical artists are coming from continental Europe.
Yeah, and that's true. But also going the other way, I think it's difficult for people who have many instruments. That transportation side of that is proven difficult as well, as far as I understand it.
Yeah. The carnet for an orchestra must be
I wouldn't like to do that.
Must be a nightmare. Excellent, good stuff. And finally, Music Business Worldwide says YouTube is getting further into the live business with the launch of its Music Nights concert series. The series will feature big-name artists in intimate venues and follows the site's live streaming of events such as Coachella, plus other moves from the likes of Spotify and Amazon. Lucy, how do you feel about the DSPs moving into live music?
I think it's positive. And, I suppose that people started to get into this during COVID. Some were successful, some weren't. I don't think it will ever take over the live experience, actually being in a room with an artist and, having come directly off of a live gig last night, it's brilliant and you can't compare anything to that. So, I would be supportive of it. And I don't think it would detract from live experience. I think, everyone's fair game to do what they would like in terms of these performances and how people consume them as well.
Do you think those things have any effect on whether people go to a gig or not, or whether they stay at home and watch it?
I actually think that hopefully it might make them want to go and see a live gig. Say they haven't been to a live concert and then they see something at home on the TV. They might think, actually, I'd like to go and see this in person. Perhaps it might have a positive effect in that way.
Yeah, yeah. Would you ever do this, or would you ever do a deal for the ARC shows to be live streamed, for example?
Absolutely, I would look into things like that without a doubt. If they're happening already, why not, add that extra element so that more people can see it?
Yeah, it's because, like you're saying, COVID, I think we thought maybe this was going to become a sort of standard part of the business, but that hasn't really happened, has it?
This is why it doesn't concern me in that way, because I don't think it would ever be absolutely massive that it would overtake the live sector, but I think we could see it as a way to support it.
Yeah, you can't be the real thing.
No. Exactly.
Excellent. Well, thanks, Lucy. And don't forget, for even more music industry insights, sign up for the TMT newsletter at themoneytrench.com. But now it's time to talk to this week's guest, Lucy Noble of AEG Presents. Lucy, we hear a lot about venues closing these days, but not so much about new ones opening. So congratulations on bringing the ARC. But that's a big commitment, isn't it, a new venue?
Yeah, it is a big commitment. But it is really positive, isn't it? It's a lovely story to actually be opening a venue, like you say, when we've had the sad news of so many particular smaller venues closing over recent years. So we've been really positive about it. Everyone seems very positive about it. And I just hope that it will encourage other venues, up and down the UK to open and further afield. Yeah, so it's good.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen with other venues, can be a difficult process to get one open. Did everything go smoothly for you guys?
It did. I can say this now, having had the first night. It went well. And we planned it, meticulously. You can learn from, watching other venues open. And so I think we got it right, and it's been a huge success. And I feel very relieved this morning to know that we've opened and everyone's really excited and really positive about it.
Did you have any sleepless nights thinking of what happened up in Manchester?
It may have entered my mind, when opening another new major venue. But it's a great team up there, and they're doing a great job. And like I say, you can learn from what's happened in the past. And we've been fortunate that it's all gone to plan.
Well done. And you had Self-Esteem as the opening act last night. Was that someone you sort of went after to be the first name above the door, as it were?
Yeah, we felt that she was a great first artist, and that was proved right last night. And it was a great opener, and so we're really thrilled with that. And she's performing again tonight, and then we've got McFly tomorrow night, something completely different.
Okay. Yeah, but definitely putting it through its paces with the first few acts in terms of variety, aren't you? So and the ARC is at Olympia, which is actually a fairly historic site for gigs, isn't it? Does that make it easier to do a new venue there, or does it make it harder?
I don't quite know yet. I think that, you will go down to site, I'm sure, in due course, but it's absolutely beautiful down there. Wonderfully designed by the British designer Thomas Heatherwick. It's just so gorgeous, and there's all these beautiful rooftop bars, restaurants. There's 2 hotels. There's a jazz club. There's going to be a theatre that's opening next year. There's even a school that they've opened. So they've kind of really covered all bases, but it's really kind of taking things to the next level and just so wonderfully done. So it is a real destination and something quite different, actually, I think. We have these destinations like the O2, which is one of our venues, and it's very different to that. And people will see that when they come down, and working with loads of partners across the site. So I think it's a real coup, and for West London, and to reignite that history that you talk about. It's got a really rich musical and creative history. People like Jimi Hendrix performed there back in the day, and we've put this state-of-the-art building or music venue on top of a grade 2 listed building. So it's an interesting mix there, but I think it works really well. And I think the history of it will bring it alive. We need to build the brand of the venue, of course, and get all the acts in, which we are doing. And so as long as we can continue doing that, it should be a big success story.
Yeah, it's part of a wider redevelopment, as you say.
Yeah.
And that seems to have been the pattern for new venue openings. Now we had Mars Leonard on the other day, which they're doing something similar down in Bristol for their new venue.
Yeah,
Is that just what you have to do now to make a venue successful?
I do think that people, the audiences or the consumers or whatever we want to call them, expect more. And even if you have just got a venue, they expect that VIP experience. They expect the experience to be elevated and just for standards to keep rising. And so I do think it is a consideration. People need to think of the bigger picture when opening a venue these days, and what added value you can bring.
Yeah. How important is that VIP element these days? I know there's been talk of the live industry definitely trying to sort of increase the proportion of customers who go for that option.
Yeah, I think people really enjoy that. And I think it's important that you have the accessible ticket prices alongside that. And you still need that range, of course. But people really love a special night out, and they're prepared to pay a little bit more to get to have that elevated experience that I talked about a minute ago. And whether that is a better seat or a drink with it or an area that they get to themselves, people seem to enjoy that.
Yeah, nice. And I guess, I mean, as you say, Olympia's pretty historic site for gigs. I've not been there for quite a long time. Do you worry people have slightly got out of the habit of going to that part of London for a gig? I
think so. You know, of course they have, because there hasn't been so much going on in that particular area of Kensington Olympia. But one of our other venues is Hammersmith Apollo, just down the road, and that is busy every night, you know, up to 5,000 people. And so people do visit this part of London, slightly different area, 15-minute walk. But I think it will take time. But as soon as people come down, they will return, because it's just so amazing, Olympia.
Fantastic. And it's a mid-sized venue. Capacity's 3,800, I think.
Yeah.
You know, we hear a lot about arenas, don't we? We hear a lot about the grassroots, not so much about what's in between. Is there a sort of opportunity there? Is there a gap in the market for that?
Yeah, we definitely feel there is a gap in the market or an opportunity for mid-sized venues. And like you say, you kind of got the smaller venues. And when I say smaller, I mean, I suppose I can get up to like 2,000 capacity, but then it jumps to the arena. And this is definitely offering that stepping stone in between for up and coming artists. But then also it provides just a big enough capacity so that we can look at some of those bigger names coming as well, who might want to look at doing a more intimate offering, might want to look at doing a residency or something like Van Morrison is doing in the autumn. So hopefully you kind of get the best of both worlds.
Yeah, I mean, I guess a lot of the acts you've got playing in the first few weeks actually could and do play much bigger venues.
Yeah.
Do you see that as being part of the programming going forward as well?
I hope so. I hope that those artists that can sell an arena will come to British Airways ARC. And like I say, just think about doing a different kind of performance for their audiences and fans. And we very much hope to do that. But also, like I say, get the artists, the younger artists as well, and support the up and coming artists.
Yeah. How many shows do you hope to do a year?
As many as possible. I mean, I'd like to think that we can get up to 200 at least. I mean, having been at the Royal Albert Hall where we did, I think when I was there, our record was 402 shows in a year. So for me, 200, I think we can I know, there were 3 a day sometimes. But, you know, so me, 200, you know, I would like to think is achievable.
Yeah. That's quite a lot, though, isn't it? There's not that many venues that are probably doing a couple of shows.
No, definitely not. But things like Cirque du Soleil go in and do several shows in a day in the early months and things. So there's ways of making the numbers up. Yeah. Those long runs.
Okay, you're going to be busy. But who's the competition? Because in London we are blessed with quite a lot of venues, aren't you? I guess the Forum and maybe your own Eventum Apollo. Are they are you competing with the same sort of acts in those places?
No, I think they're quite different offerings. And when you come down to ARC, you'll see how different they are. And obviously we have programming team who will kind of make sure that we don't take away from the other. So we'll make sure that we manage that really well. But any mid-sized venue in London really, in a way, is competition to us. And there's so many great venues in London, and there's a really rich number of mid-sized venues. So it will be interesting to see. People are comparing us to the Roundhouse in terms of kind of look and feel and style, although again very different. But we've got Shepherd's Bush Empire up the road, a bit smaller obviously, Brixton Academy. There's many, Palladium on the other, so, but hopefully we can all just sit alongside each other and work well together.
Yeah, I'm sure you've been talking to the industry for a while, and we
Yeah.
know sometimes they get in the habit of just going back to the same venues. Is it what sort of reception are you getting from the managers and the booking agents?
I think as soon as they come down, they absolutely love it. And it's been a building site, of course. And so it's only been in recent weeks that we've been able to properly show people and showcase a venue, because we could take them down before, but there was lots of scaffolding. It doesn't look like a venue with any new build for quite some time, but then it does move very quickly towards the end. So now that we're getting people down to see shows, getting them down to showruns, they're all really excited about it, because they realise it is kind of taking mid-sized venues to that next level.
Yeah, and you sort of manage a portfolio of that
Yes.
kind of venue, don't you?
I do. Yeah, so we've got, as I mentioned, Hammersmith Apollo. We've got Indigo in at the O2. We've got Wolverhampton Civic Halls in Wolverhampton, funnily enough.
Hence the name.
Yes. And then Watford Coliseum as well. So quite an array and diverse group of venues.
And what's the business like at that level? Because we talk a lot on the podcast about how, stadiums, arenas, absolutely booming, and then it seems to sort of get tougher the further down the pyramid you go.
Yeah, I think it does. And obviously some mid-sized venues are doing better than others. For us, for example, Wolverhampton was shut for a decade. So actually we've got a bit of work to do to build that back up, the profile of that venue. When something is closed for so long, it does drop off people's radars. It's an amazing venue, brilliant size, so good. And I went to see Robbie Williams recently, and it is fantastic. So, part of my job across these venues is to go out and sell them and to get people to use them. And that's, now that British Airways ARC is open, I can focus on that, and I'm really excited to do that.
Yeah, and I guess we hear a lot about how hard it is for artists to tour these days, particularly I guess those sort of kind of mid-range artists. So how do you look at that when you're trying to help those acts put a tour together at that sort of level?
We just try to do everything that we can to support them to make it work, because if it can work for them, it works for us as well. And we want to get great performances into the venues, and you have to be flexible, I suppose, would be the answer to that.
Yeah. And ticket sales at that level, what are they like generally for the people that are touring?
It's like, it'd be like any size venue. Some sell out in 5 minutes, some need a bit more work, some don't sell out. So that would be the case across the board, whatever size you're going to, really.
Is Blue Dot Fever a real phenomenon?
Probably to a certain point, but not really. I think we've got a thriving business, and I think it will only continue in that way.
Yeah. And generally, do you feel that live business is a bit too top heavy? Would you like to see sort of more action further down in the sort of mid-range venues?
It is interesting. There's been a real trend to go to stadiums, hasn't there, in recent years? And it's a big thing to do stadiums. Harry Styles got an amazing, I think it's 12-date stadium tour at the moment. Amazing. That's an incredible amount of tickets. And why not? If they can do that, you're going to do that, aren't you? And so, and then you can see that happening at the moment, where it's gone past that arena level more. There used to be the occasional stadium gig, didn't there? But now it seems to all be about that, and that seems to be the aim for artists. But there's always a place for the smaller venues, and what you lack with those huge gigs is the intimacy. And I think potentially connection with the audiences, although I know they're all fantastic. The Harry Styles show, I haven't seen it, but I've heard it's absolutely incredible. But the thing about these smaller venues is you get that connection back. So I mentioned Robbie Williams at Wolverhampton. He did his original album tour in smaller venues because he wanted to reconnect. And we had Will Smith at some of our venues also last year. And again, a similar story, and just want to get back to where they came from and to their roots, and just remind them of that experience. So that's what I'm hoping we can continue to do with our venues.
Yeah. There's been quite a lot of government interest in the live sector of late, doesn't there? And one of the things they talked about recently was a supposed lack of competition in the live market, and the climate of fear that apparently goes with it. How do you feel about that? Do you feel like you've you've got enough competition?
Lack of competition. What you mean in terms of everything, or
Yeah, across the business, I think.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of competition. I feel like I'm competing every day, as we all know. So I don't think that's true. I think it's, as long as it's healthy competition, then all good. But there it is a competitive market, of course.
Yeah, I mean, you work for AG, obviously, which I guess is the sort of the number 2 company to Live Nation. Is there a sort of genuine rivalry between the two companies, or do you work together?
I think we are two very different companies, and like you say, they're a very big company, and they are of course competition to us, but it's always healthy to have competition. So it's all good.
Okay, so it's all harmonious, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
If the government are listening to this. Ticket prices. This is always a sort of controversial topic, isn't it? Some people think they're way too high. Some people in the industry actually think they're way too low. Presumably it's quite an exercise for you, particularly in the mid-range venue, that the ticket price needs to be right.
Yeah, it is for any venue. Yeah, but particularly mid-size, because there is so much choice as well. So often the bigger acts that you've spoken about, they will just be doing, their tour, and people really want to go and see them. But when you are competing with other mid-sized venues on any night for any amount of shows or artists out there, you do need to price accordingly. But obviously the show needs to work financially as well. In the venue business, obviously we're hiring to promoters a lot of the time, so they do fix their prices. We do some in-house promotions, but we advise as well, and you can see the trends of what is selling and what isn't, and each artist is completely different. Each show is completely different in terms of the level of ticket price they can attract.
Do you think that move to stadium shows, where sometimes the ticket price is very expensive, but obviously also you're talking about people travelling to a venue and maybe staying in a hotel and stuff, is that taking money out of the sort of lower tiers in the business, or is it supplementary?
It's a difficult question to answer, or to know the real answer for. If people are spending a huge amount on a ticket and they make it a special day out, it might be the one thing that they do that month, or within that couple of months. So I suppose there is an argument that they might not do other things. But I think often with mid-sized venues, people tend to go locally, so you don't get the travel. So they might actually just do that alongside the big splashy thing, hopefully, and in addition to it.
Yeah. And grassroots venues, obviously, it's been tough. And I you sit on the live board. Are things improving now? The grassroots levy has come in.
I think so. It's been a huge success, that, so far, and the money that the Live Trust has taken so far has now divvied that out to various charities and grassroots venues. But the levy is not just about venues; it's about grassroots promoters, new artists, grassroots schemes. So it's grassroots across the whole business, which I think is really important. So it's working well so far, and the industry seems to have got really behind it. So I think everyone is thrilled with how it's gone.
Yeah. Do you think there's enough support at that sort of arena stadium level now to make it work? Because I guess last year the figures were most gigs actually didn't carry it, didn't they?
Yeah,
Has that improved?
It has improved. There's still work to be done, but it's heading in the right direction.
Yeah. And it is, how secure do you think the future of the grassroots circuit is now this has come in?
I think this helps to make it more secure. I think it's not always potentially just about money. It's about how many of them there are, where people want to go and play. But I think this is a great way to support it, and it's a really important way. And the fact the whole industry is behind it is a really key, an important moment.
Yeah. What would happen if we lost the grassroots circuit, do you think?
Well, it's where all those artists play for the first time, isn't it? I used to play in bands and I played on venues, and that was part of kind of growing up as a musician. But it's not just, it's about performing, but it's about learning how to market, sell tickets, all of that. And so there's so many learning experience that come with those grassroots venues, and it's so key to the ecosystem of music in its entirety. So without those, you'd be just the bottom would be dropping out. And where would they go to have their first gigs, to get that experience, to build their audiences and to move up into the bigger venues?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah. If you're a TikTok sensation, maybe you can skip a few steps. But
yeah, they won't be doing that anymore, though, if you're under 16.
That's true. That's true.
So maybe that would help the grassroots venues.
Maybe the social media ban will save the grassroots circuit. You might be onto something there. But all right, well, let's talk about you. So, did you originally want to be a musician yourself? Was that the original dream?
I think so. I think I wanted to be the next James Galway. Because I play the flute.
Yes,
so,
of course.
But it's interesting. I went to Royal College of Music, as you said at the beginning, and then I ended up becoming a steward at the Royal Albert Hall.
Okay.
Which is right opposite the Royal College of Music, and then it all kind of went from there, really. I did do some other jobs in between. I didn't just work at the Royal Albert Hall that entire time. That would be a bit sad. But so, yeah, you know how you kind of fall into something, but then you realise, actually, that's really what you want to do.
Yeah.
It's kind of what happened with me.
So were you playing the flute all the time growing up?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Very much so.
And was classical music always your thing?
I never listened to classical music, but just landed up being quite good at playing the flute and then going to Royal College of Music. It wasn't something I was brought up with in any shape or form. So I was brought up listening to Stevie Wonder, Rolling Stones, but also like trad jazz, like Louis Armstrong. My parents loved him and other trad jazz artists. So soul, all of that kind of thing. So very not classical at all, but I learned how to play it and did well and then got into Royal College of Music.
Yeah, which is quite hard to get into, isn't it? So you must have been pretty good at it.
Yeah, I think there were 3 flute players a year, and I'd just come from a really normal background, and it was quite an achievement to get in, because a lot of people at that time in the conservatoires had been to all the kind of top music schools. So at that time, it was a real achievement for me. I was very proud.
Yeah. And what made you think, actually, maybe I don't want to play the flute professionally?
Yeah.
I'm going to go into the business side.
It was when I was a steward at the Royal Albert Hall, and some of the senior people used to come down and do the briefings, and I thought I'd like to do something like that. And I ended up actually getting a job at Sadler's Wells, another small mid-sized venue, for 2 weeks, just doing some temporary stuff. And then they kept asking me to stay. I ended up doing programming, and then went to IMG to be an agent, and then went to the Royal Albert Hall in the programming role.
Yeah. So, and when you joined the Royal Albert Hall, you stayed there for 20 years. 22 years. Yeah, long time. I grew up there, really. Yeah. Did you expect that you were going to stay there that long when you started?
Probably not. But it's such a wonderful place to work. And I was, successful there, doing really well, got promoted many times. And by the time I left, I was looking after most areas. So I had a workforce of 500 people. I'd managed to set the culture in my areas because I'd hired all the people. It's very much my teams. And, it was a really lovely place to be in. And I thoroughly enjoyed doing that.
Yeah, I mean, you must have known that business inside out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I really did. And we drove it as well. And it is very, financially successful charity as well. And I enjoyed building that up over the years.
Yeah. I mean, I guess a lot of people will associate the Royal Albert Hall with classical music, but you sort of programmed lots of different types of events, didn't you? How important was that to the success?
Yeah, I think it was very important. I think it's interesting that you say that it's associated with classical music, because that's just one small part of the programme at the Royal Albert Hall. It's so diverse. I mean, when I was there, we promoted 9 Inch Nails, for example. They have everything there, and diversity is key there of the programme to get different audiences in. So it's always been diverse, and it is really important to keep it diverse.
Yeah. On the other hand, I guess you looked after the proms every year, which is quite a big responsibility, isn't it, for this sort of huge national tradition?
Yeah. Well, I mean, actually, it's the BBC that do most of that. And so they hire the venue, and we had an amazing relationship with them. But they do programme that, and they go in. So, but we had to deliver it with them. Just selling the tickets for that is an immense job. So yeah, but then I mean, after the 22nd proms, that was like your kind of thing that came back on a yearly basis, and you think it's the proms again, it's the proms again. But it's a lovely time in the building when they come in.
So you didn't have to worry too much about what the Daily Telegraph or the Daily Mail was saying every year.
Yeah, no, not so much.
Fair enough. And I guess to a lot of people, you were kind of the face of the Albert Hall. So what made you decide to leave after all that time there?
Yeah, had been there a long time, as you said. When I just thought I've got a few more adventures in me yet. If I stay here, I will only work at the Royal Albert Hall. I mean, I did, as I said, I did have some jobs before, but I thought I've got to be brave about this. And it was really hard to make that decision to leave, by the way, really hard. But I did, and it's interesting. And now here I am today, having opened, this amazing new venue, and the experiences and the things that I've learned since leaving the hall in this kind of commercial sector, but working for AEG, is just been very interesting, very useful, very amazing. And it would certainly make me look at the Royal Albert Hall differently now, in terms of how I would do that, for sure.
What would you change if you went back there?
I think it's steeped in tradition, but I think I would have I'd look at it through a more contemporary lens now in terms of all the venues that we look after, and just there's many things that I would bring from the Royal Albert Hall into the venues I'm looking after now, but also things that we can bring from AEG into those kind of more traditional institutions as well.
Yeah, I guess the Albert Hall is a fairly unique space, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, never mind in the UK, it's pretty unique when you look around the world, isn't it? So
yes.
Yeah, is there much you can really take from somewhere like that into the more commercial side of things?
I think customer experience, looking after people, for me, the kind of VIP and all the things that the Royal Albert Hall does very well, and just make excellence is what I would say, taking things up to the next level.
Yeah. And yes, so you joined AEG, which I guess is a much more sort of commercial operation.
Yeah.
Than the Albert Hall. How was the transition for you?
I found it hard, having been at the Hall for so long, and also being so senior at Royal Albert Hall, and kind of, and then you go into a bigger organisation and you're kind of feel more junior instantly, but I was a promoter, so that was a big thing for me, in that that's a new world for me. I promoted in at the Royal Albert Hall, but suddenly promoting up and down the country, steep learning curve. Quite terrifying being a promoter as well. You're a professional gambler and the margins are small. You only make really when the show is hugely successful. So it's easy to lose, as it is to win. But again, we've learned a huge amount, and still doing a bit of promoting, of course.
Yeah. And you were artistic director when you joined.
Yes.
AEG. I think the first time they'd ever had an artistic director.
Yes.
What does that mean at a company like AEG?
I think it was the thinking behind it was to bring in a different strand of promoting. So from things like All Things Orchestral at Hyde Park, which we're doing again this year, and also doing at Roundhay, and creating that so we could create shows. I did a Christmas season at the Royal Festival Hall, and I create that. And so normally the things that we do at AEG tend to be people coming in with their, Taylor Swift coming in with her show. It's all made. But also the alternative things, so Blue Man Group, which we're promoting again, things like Alan Menken, the guy who wrote all the Disney music, and the things that are just a little bit different, film with live orchestra. And that's the space that I've been filling at AEG.
Yeah, I mean, you've programmed a lot of those sort of slightly different live experiences. Is that a bit of an untapped area for the biz, do you think?
I think so. I think there's a lot of competition. The film with live orchestra, when we were the first people to bring that to the country at the Royal Albert Hall, and now a lot of people are doing it. So there is more competition. So it's harder, but there is definitely a gap in the market, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, and obviously you've done a lot with classical music over the years.
Yeah.
Would you like to see more sort of promoters invest more in classical music?
I think so. I think it's a beautiful genre, but I mean, at AG, we are doing that because we do all things orchestral, but we make that really accessible so that people feel welcome. And I think I feel really strongly about classical music that we slightly over gentrified it in the years in terms of, where you're allowed to clap, where you're not allowed to clap. And with what we do at Hyde Park and what we will do at Roundhay is right at the beginning, we say, you can basically react to this however you want and whenever you want. This is music. This was the pop music of the day. If you want to get up and dance, if you want to clap halfway through, that's fine. And I think we need to kind of just bring it back and make it a bit more accessible so we can bring new audiences on the journey of classical music. But AEG is behind that, obviously, by bringing it into these festivals.
Yeah. Do you think classical music still has a bit of an image problem? People see it as a bit elitist?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. And not everyone would agree with me on that, but I feel that not everyone necessarily feels like they're welcome.
Mm. Yeah, how do you get around that? I guess the alcohol was maybe part of the reason people see it like that when they see the proms and stuff like that. How do you sort of get around that and make it more inclusive?
Well, I mean, with my shows, I put a host up there who talk about the music and the story behind it, introduce some of the instruments. It's still at the core the same music, but it's just the way it's presented so that people feel like they're part of it and that they don't feel silly if they don't know what that instrument is or what that piece is, because we tell them and just make it inclusive.
Yeah. And classical music at the moment, what sort of, where's it at in terms of a live proposition? Because I guess the classical crossover thing happened a while ago, but
it did, didn't it?
Yeah,
kind of in the early 2000s. I think it's strong, and the orchestras are looking to diversify. They know and want to get new audiences as well. So I think it's in a really good place, and it's, as long as everyone is forward thinking with it all, it should be a thriving area.
Yeah. And how important is music education? Because obviously there's been a lot of cuts in that. But is that pretty important to get the next generation into classical music?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, music education is lacking in schools, in many schools. My children went to a primary school that weren't really engaging with music at all. And that made me really sad, because it doesn't cost anything to have a choir, to use your voice. And the thing is, because it's now not a core subject, schools just can choose to drop it. I think the lowest amount of people are ever taking A-level music now, as well as GCSE music. The numbers are hugely in decline. It's a huge concern. When I was learning, I had free one-to-one music lessons until I went to Royal College of Music. And so I was able to do that. And what worries me is that those lessons aren't there. And it's okay if you're like me and all my children play musical instruments, because I have the know-how and I can afford to pay for lessons. But there's so many people out there who don't have the know-how. They might not even think for their child to engage in music because they haven't, but their child might be really talented. So they don't have the know-how, but also they can't afford the lessons. So there's this whole, raft of people that aren't engaged in music and they're missing out. And it really concerns me that we've closed the door on so many young people. So it's for me a huge worry, and I think there's a lot needs to be done in that area.
Yeah, what can we do about that? I'm guessing you in a parents' evening having a word, but on a more national level, what would you like to see happen?
I think the government need to make it a core subject so that everyone values the arts again, because I'm not sure that they're valued in the way that they used to be in all schools. I mean, we chose a school for our children that is very musical, specifically because we're musicians and we wanted that, but they're not all like that.
Yeah. Is one of your children going to be the next James Galway after you?
Well, I do have a daughter who plays the harp, who goes to the junior department at Royal College of Music on a Saturday, so she's very good. So you never know. She might succeed where I failed.
Okay. I'm not sure who the James Galway equivalent is in the world of harps.
No, I don't know either, actually.
But maybe they're going to blaze a trail, be the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so what's next? What have you got coming up? You're involved with the Silver Clefs, of course, aren't you? Which
yes.
We had Emma Banks talking about the other week.
Yeah, so I'm vice chair for Nordoff and Robbins, and Emma Banks is the chair, so we work closely on that. And we've got the 50th anniversary of the Silver Clefs, and we are holding that at the Royal Albert Hall in a few weeks. And
Will it be weird to go back?
it's okay now. I used to go back and cry every time. That's another story, because I got walked out on gardening leave very quickly. So I was very emotional about it for quite some time, but I'm okay now, so I can go back and enjoy it. It's going to be great. It will be great to do that dinner at the Royal Albert Hall. I think it's going to be a wonderful backdrop for it. I'm really looking forward to that. And it's got some great artists who are up for won awards, as I'm sure you know. And I'll be interested to see how the music industry react to it in a different place into the 50th anniversary. Nordhoff and Robbins is a great charity, always needs, further support so that we can do what we need to do. So that should be a great fundraiser as well on that evening.
Yeah, it should be fantastic. And obviously you've got the British Airways ARC. Do you have a sort of plan of where you want it to be in 5 years' time or something?
To be a successful, busy, thriving music venue, really, with great artists performing.
Not asking for much.
We'll get there, be fine.
Are there sort of people you really like to see play there? People you think would sort of just be perfect?
Many people. I would love, we talked about Harry Styles earlier, I'd love Harry Styles to go and play and do an intimate gig, or any of those big artists that are going to the stadium to come and just think differently about, even if it's just one performance in there. So, but, I'm a big fan of Stevie Wonder. I think I mentioned him earlier. Love to see him. Who knows? We'll try to see who we can get.
Yeah, put in that call.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how about you? Are you planning to stay at AG for as long as you stayed at the Albert Hall?
I think I might be at retirement age then, or past retirement age. But
so it's the live industry. Nobody retires.
I know there's I'm enjoying my new job. I've only been doing it 6 months. So right at the start, and looking forward to getting stuck into the other venues, because British Airways ARC has tended to take over quite a lot in the last 6 months. So now that it's open, I can crack on and work with the teams at the other venues. So excited to do that.
Will you be looking to open any more venues in this sort of range?
I think we're looking at all across Europe at mid-sized venues. So whatever, there's always lots of opportunities. Nothing on the horizon right now, but watch your space. Okay,
so you're not just looking in the UK, you're looking...
Yeah. Yes, yeah.
Okay, interesting. And I mean, AG is a big company, isn't it?
Yes.
Do you see yourself staying in this area, or are there other things you'd like to do within the company?
For now, I'm good in venues. I'm always up for a new challenge. So we'll just see what presents itself over the coming years.
Okay, fantastic stuff. Well, thanks, Lucy. And please stick around for Latest or Greatest, which is coming right up. If you're enjoying The Money Trench, supported by SOUNDON and TIXEL, please give us a rating or review on your podcast platform of choice, as it really does help us keep making this podcast. But now it's time for our quickfire round with our guest, Lucy Noble of AG Presents. Lucy, this is called Latest or Greatest. You can decide to talk about either the most recent or the all-time best music biz thing that you've experienced in these categories. And we start with what's meant to be the easy one, but doesn't always work out that way. The latest or greatest record that you've bought.
I did actually buy an actual record, vinyl record recently, which was, I went back to the Royal Albert Hall to promote Cypress Hill with the London Symphony Orchestra, and it was recorded live, and they made a album, and I bought it, and it's great, and it's got my name in it, which I was very excited about.
Wow. Did they not give you a free copy?
No, they didn't actually. I got a poster.
Yeah. And yeah, am I right in thinking that Cypress Hill with an orchestra, wasn't that like on The Simpsons?
It was the Simpsons story, and it was a few years, well, I think it was like 30 years ago or something, that there was this kind of joke where the London Symphony Orchestra just turned up, and no one knew why they were there, and they said, Cypress Hill, are they for you? And then so they actually just brought that actual story together. It was brilliant night.
Did it work? Did it work better than it did on The Simpsons?
Oh, it was fantastic. Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah, fantastic. I saw them at Download the other week. With
yes.
no orchestra. Sadly.
Yeah.
But they were very good.
Yeah. This
will be a tricky one for you, I'm guessing. The latest or greatest gig or festival that you went to, as you go to them professionally, you've probably seen quite a few.
I mean, because it's in my mind, I have to say that last night with Self-Esteem was amazing.
Very
incredible.
On brand. Staying on brand.
Yeah, but one that has just entered my mind was when Nelson Mandela got released from prison, came to the Royal Albert Hall with the royal family, and a concert of African music was put on for him. And that was so emotional to be in the room with him. And it was a real moment that I was a steward at the Royal Albert Hall, and to be in the room with Nelson Mandela, and the whole of the Royal Albert Hall was up dancing apart from the royal box, because there's this rule that you're not supposed to dance in the royal box. And then Nelson got up and started dancing, and then the Queen got up and just kind of stood there holding her handbag and not moving. And it was just, but God, that was amazing. That was amazing.
Wow, what a night. Did you actually meet Nelson Mandela?
No, sadly not. Would have loved to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not bad though. Not bad. Anyone who can make any artist that can make the Queen stand up has done quite well. Your latest or greatest music biz boss?
This is quite a hard one. I think I would lean to female leaders, actually. People like Emma, because us kind of let's say middle-aged women in the music industry, there's not so many of us at the senior level, and so many more coming up through, which is brilliant. But yeah, I think those women that have done really well and at the top of their game, I think they're all amazing.
Yeah, I mean, the live industry, when you entered it, I guess would have been pretty male dominated.
Yeah.
Did you have a female mentor when you were sort of starting out?
It's interesting because a lot of the people that I speak to do tend to be men, you know, when I was younger, because the senior ones were only men, but you know, my family have always been there for me in terms of like sounding boards and things. I'm the eldest of 6 children, so those are the people that I go to, rather than tend to be people in the music industry.
Yeah. Was it ever difficult being the only woman in some of those rooms?
Not really, actually. The only time I've really noticed it is when I've became a promoter recently, and there's really very few senior female promoters. But again, some incredible female promoters that are now more senior and doing really well. But that was definitely quite a male-dominated space for some time, wasn't it? The promoting world.
Yeah. The latest or greatest mistake that you've made?
I did accidentally book in to the Royal Albert Hall Ultimate Fighting, or was it Cage Rate or something like that?
Right.
And then the next day on the front of the Sun, it just said Brawl at the Hall, and I got into trouble for that.
Okay.
And then it did actually go ahead, and it was fine.
How did you accidentally book it? What did you think you were?
I was slightly duped by the promoter. Right. We won't go into those details any further.
Well, they have it at the White House now, so
yeah.
You know, in good company. But
yes.
Yeah, I mean, because they have sumo wrestling at the Albert Hall, don't they?
Yes. Yeah. That was incredible. I went to see that actually, and that had been something in the making for decades, really, to try and get them back. I'm so glad that they managed to do that. It was great.
Yeah. And did the Albert Hall forgive you for booking the cage fighters?
I think so. I think that once it all calmed down, it was okay.
Fair enough. The latest or greatest artist that you've worked with? I guess you've worked with quite a few, directly or indirectly, over the years.
Yeah, just, you know, I'll say Self-Esteem again. Sorry, I know I've said her a few times, because that was great, because it was just linked with the opening night of ARC. I'd really enjoyed working with Cypress Hill. I enjoy those projects where you're creating, because that was a kind of creation project, again, bringing an orchestra together with them. So there's been so many artists that we've worked with over the years. It's actually really hard to say. Yeah.
Did you liaise quite a lot with Self-Esteem in the run up to the opening night? Because I guess in a way for the artist, it's a bit of it's unknown territory, isn't it? If no one's never played this venue before.
Yeah, I mean, we liaise with her team, of course, and her agent and her production team, and the team at the ARC are liaising closely with them all to make sure that it all comes off really well. And because it is the first time we're properly using the lighting system, first time we're using the sound system, it had to be a lot of discussion around it to make sure that it was ace for the opening night.
Was she happy with that? I heard she was bigging up the venue on stage.
Yeah, very much so. And by the way, we didn't tell her to do that. I think everyone thinks we did. I promise you. I swear on my life that no, she was just did it. So that was very useful.
Wasn't in the contract, extra zero on the contract.
No, promise.
Okay, and she's coming back for the second night tonight.
Tonight, yeah, exactly.
That's the ultimate endorsement, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
The latest or greatest music industry party that you've been to. Do you like a music industry party?
I do. We had a good party last night.
Was there a lot of blowing off of steam then after all this build-up?
I think there was a bit, and also we had lots of music industry guests and friends that, music industry supporters. And so it was a really lovely moment. So I do think that people took that moment to celebrate the success of the new venue, because it was a great success. So
yeah.
Are
there going to be a few sore heads amongst the team when you go over there later?
Maybe.
I guess the beauty of live industry, you don't have to start that early in the morning, do you?
No, apart from if you're coming to do a chat with you.
Yeah. Well, I'm amazed you turned up. When this was booked for the morning after the first show, I was like, is she gonna be there? But here you are, fresh-faced.
Oh, thank you.
and making sense. So,
good.
Which is more than most guests, to be honest with you, whether they've had a night out or not. So great stuff. And we can't let you go without giving us a new music tip. Are you always on the lookout for new acts?
Yeah, and actually we did do a test night at ARC, and we did that with the Brit School. So there were two great artists. There was Naomi and Nad from Brit School. They were ace. I think they're going to be up and coming, if not already, there. And then last night there was a guy called Joshua Idahan who was brilliant, and he's definitely one to watch. He was supporting Self-Esteem, so people loved him. So that's my tips for today.
Nice stuff. And I guess you're going to get as many new acts on in those support slots as you can.
Yeah, and want to do the Brit School have a relationship with the whole campus, so we'll be doing things with them. I'm really passionate about supporting young artists, so we'll do as much as we can in that area. Okay,
great to hear. But that sadly is all we have time for. So a big thank you to our guest, Lucy Noble of AEG Presents. Thanks very much for coming on the show.
Oh, thank you for having me.
The Money Trench, the music industry podcast with me, Mark Sutherland, is supported by SOUNDON and TIXEL, and in support of Earth Percent. It's produced by Tape Notes and exec produced by Mike Walsh, with huge thanks to Sennheiser, The Fourth Pillar, and our friends at Deviate Digital for our social media. The Money Trench music is by the brilliant Tom A. Smith, and to get in touch with us, please email mike@themoneytrench.com. There's another big week for the biz coming up. If you can drag yourself away from the World Cup, the Music Venue Trust's Everywhere at Once festival kicks off. Idol celebrates its 20th birthday. The BPI White Label auction is on. It's the Music Minds Matter quiz. BST Hyde Park, Roskilde and State Fair festivals are all on. And there are big gigs for Harry Styles, The Cure, Alexis on Fire, Take That, The Foo Fighters, Lily Allen, The Offspring and Bowling for Soup. And TMT will be back with another edition of the pod All the Biz Guys Want on Monday, June the 29th, starring another top exec. We will see you all then. Lucy, thanks for coming on the show, and best of luck with the ARC. Moving on.
Thank you.
Cheers.